Hello and welcome to the University of Laverne, My Degree Tracker overview, specifically for criminology sophomores. This video should help you pick the classes according to your degree tracker that you need for the upcoming semester. So the first thing I want to do is to share my screen with you to make sure you remember how to get to your degree tracker. So the first thing you want to do is, hang on one second, there we go, is to go to your portal. And then look under quick links until you see My Degree Tracker and click on it. And then it brings you up to the screen with three boxes, and yours will always be My Degree Tracker. And you'll click right on the word here, and then you will see your degree tracker come up. Of course, I'm using a test. So in the first block, we're going to call each section of the degree tracker a block. Between the thick green lines, this first block, obviously your major you've chosen is criminology. There is not a concentration, so you don't need to pick one. And then your minor, if you don't have one yet, you might want to pick one because you're going to have about 30 credit hours that you can use as you'd like. So you could just take a variety of different classes, all college credit. They'd work as elective if they don't fit someplace on the degree tracker, and you can do that. Or you could take an actual minor in an area of interest. You'll just go to the registrar's website and then, or page in the laverne.edu, I should say, and then you'll just look for major minor advisor change form and you can add a minor to your program. It's quite easy. All right, so then we're going to look at this first section, degree in BS, which is Bachelor's of Science in Criminology. The semester hours required, as you see, is 128. This should all be old news. And the semester hours applied. Keep in mind that when it shows semester hours applied, it includes the classes that you're in right now. So when it comes to when you actually register, it does not include the classes that you're in right now. So if there's a discrepancy, that's why. Everything in this first box has to be completed in order to graduate. 128 semester hours, which means 127 hours, it doesn't do it. Over 120 hours, it will work, but you don't want to be too far over. That's time and money. We really want you to stay as close to 128 as you can. One of the areas I like to point out is minimum 44 semester hours in upper division coursework. So if you transfer in, if you were allowed to transfer in any classes from another institution, and I said allowed because you have to have it approved not only by the university, but if it's a major class, also by the chair of the department. So if you were allowed, you want to take a look at those credit hours. They came in as 3, our classes are 4. So you want to make sure that you still hit the mark of 44 semester hours in upper division coursework. So you can take a look at that for yourself. All right, so everything in this area has to be complete, as I said. So let's go to the second area, the Laverne experience. So the first one that most students cover your sophomore year would be university values, LVUV. And if you click on that, you'll see the page that comes up shows all the different university values. And for criminology students, LVE 200 is what you'd like to take. That's what will do the trick. Community engagement, that'll be covered by your internship. So that's going to count both in your major area and then also here in community engagement. And then another area is university reflection. And if you click on LVUR, you're going to see a lot of sociology classes because obviously in criminology, as you know, most of your classes for your major are SOC. And so you're going to see that there's quite a few different choices. And so you'll really cover that through another course in your major. So it'll cover both areas, just like it did or will for community engagement. Your general education areas. If for any reason you do not have LVWA, which is writing A, and LVWB, which is writing B, completed, then you want to make absolutely certain to take that next or take it during Jan term or the summer, depending on when you're seeing this video, so that you can get it complete because those two work as prerequisites for almost actually for every major class that you need to take. I should say almost every major class that you need to take. Then you're going to go through and obviously oral communication, and you click on that to see your choices, and then quantitative reasoning. So quantitative reasoning is math. And if you click on LVQR, one of the choices that you'll see is this one, SOPH 305 quantitative analysis. And that's the one you want because quantitative analysis, when you take SOPH 305, will be covered in your prereq, and it also carries the correct attribute, the LVQR, so it'll also cover this quantitative reasoning area. So you're allowed 2 classes that double dip between your major and your general education area. So most students count that as one of the two. Then another area that you'll be taking, obviously, if you haven't already, your lifelong wellness, and then the areas of knowledge, you need two humanities, two social science. So this is because you're in a social science, by the way, this is usually the area that one of your other classes will count as one of your other double dips. And usually it turns out that it's Social 250 because that should be one of the first classes that you take. So it'll populate in their area. And Sociology 250, Introduction to Sociology, is 4-credit class, and it carries the attribute LVSS. And so that'll be one of your other double dips, which is kind of nice because then, that helps you get to your goal. And so then we have the science areas. So when it comes to life science and physical science, unless you're doing like a biology minor or you have some kind of biology goal, but if you're a criminology student with not a biology minor, just maybe another minor, what you'd want to do is just take a life science and a physical science that you can get the most information, earn the strongest grade you can, and move forward. So in life science, if you were to click on LVLS, you'll see that Biology 101 is the lowest level of bio that you can take. It comes with a separate lab, so you have to sign up for both, but that would be the recommended class. Just do the best you can and move forward. And then physical science, LVPS, you'll see that there's lots of options. I recommend strongly that you check by clicking on LVPS and then make sure that it doesn't need any prerequisites, that although it may sound good, it might be really difficult. So make sure you're reading the catalog information before you choose. And of course, if you know other students, talk to them, see what they've taken, get some ideas and input that way. And then the last area in the general education area is creative expression. And you'll see it says 2 credits needed. However, if you find a 4-credit class in the LVCE or Verne creative expression area, then by all means, take that because you're trying to reach that 128 goal. So the more credits, the more you reach toward that goal. All right, the foreign language requirement. You would want to think about this carefully because if you already can speak another language, then you want to get credit for that because that way you can fulfill this area and again move forward. So you could take a placement test in the language that you can speak, succeed on that test, perhaps test above it, you won't need any classes. Or maybe you're pretty strong, maybe you took a few classes in high school or quite a few and you think you're pretty good at it. Take the placement test and see if you can test right into this level, which is the 101 level for any given language. That would be fantastic. Or perhaps you took a class or two in high school, but that was not something you retained. You don't remember it. You're really struggling. Maybe you didn't even take 2 classes. Then what you'd want to do is just go into the lowest level of 100. So let's say, for example, Spanish, that's the most popular language. So maybe you'll take Spanish 100 and then Spanish 101. Because Spanish 101 is the one that's going to count here. So then you'd be like, well, what happens to Spanish 100? You still get credit for that. That still counts towards your 128 goal. The 100 level would show in your elective area. And so that's the way you're going to work through that area. All right, then we're going to look at your prereqs. So Introduction to Sociology. Definitely, of course, you want to take, you need it. It's a prereq for one of the other classes. And so you want to get moving. If you haven't taken that yet, you need to take that. And then I've already talked about the quantitative analysis, but I didn't tell you this. Quantitative analysis, SOPH 305, is recommended to take, ready for this, your junior year. So if you're going into your second semester sophomore year, you don't need to take that yet. It's your junior year. Unless you're trying to graduate early. So if you're going to graduate in 3 years instead of 4, then obviously you want to back that up a little bit because there's sequential classes that come after the Sociology 305 class. And so that'll be in the next video that you watch about a student education plan. Because if you're going to graduate in 3 years instead of 4, then you need to bump things back a little bit. And that would be one of the classes you need to bump back. But if you're just planning traditional 4 years, take it your junior year. All right, then your major classes. We're going to jump to the bottom half of the major classes first. In the breadth requirements, white collar crime does not carry any prereqs. So that's a class that you could take even if writing A and B aren't done yet. But everything else requires a minimum of writing A and B, and some of them also require your SOPH 250. So once some or all of those classes are done, you can pick and choose here. How do you know which is which? Click on the class. So SOPH 321, juvenile delinquency, let's click on it. And there it is. And it tells you completion of written communication B. That automatically includes A because of, the sequential AB thing. So written communication B needs to be completed, and then you can take that class. And if you click on a different class, for example, Introduction to CRIM, you're going to see that not only do you need written communication B, but you also need SOPH 250. So the prereqs are right there for you to look at. And you don't want to find out when you try to sign up for the class and then it tells you, oh, you can't take that, you're missing prereqs. Yeah, look in advance and save yourself the headache. So you want to work through those breadth requirements from now right through your senior year. Some of them you'll get done early, some of them you'll get done later in your program, but nonetheless, you want to work through them. And then your junior year, you'll need to complete research methods after you're done with stats or quantitative analysis. Sorry about that. So you do quantitative analysis and then you'll do your research methods. You'll also plan your internship and then your senior capstone. And your senior capstone really can look at it this way. There's senior thesis 499A and 499B. If you know for sure that you're going to continue your education and go on to graduate school, you really want to choose 499A and B, your senior thesis, because it really prepares you well to be able to write at the graduate level. So that's something that would be very helpful to you. If you're not sure, if you really don't want to, then you might want to choose 2 classes in 499C. It's research intensive courses. So still very helpful, but it teaches you to write about these things slightly different than the senior thesis does. And you can talk about that more you'll get a new advisor your junior year. It'll be one of the professors. So it'll be a faculty advisor and they'll help you if you're not sure which route you want to go. So those are some options you have coming. All right, one thing I didn't mention was Jan term. Jan term is where you'll find a lot of your gen eds. So maybe you want to save one of those to take during Jan term. It's also a time where you're going to find a lot of classes that you could use as electives. You may find a major class, but not as often. So don't count on those during Jan term. And just to remind you, Jan term is a 4-week period of time in January where you can take a class, and as long as you're coming in the spring, then there won't be additional tuition charges. And so that's something that you could consider, and it can help you to try to graduate early or at least on time at the very minimum. And then down here at the bottom, it doesn't show a minor on the students, but if you chose a minor, it will populate here. If your minor is, one of the areas I can help you with, which is criminology, sociology, anthropology, and psychology, I can certainly help you with that. If it's a minor in a different area, then you want to make sure you work with your minor advisor. If you're in honors, you want to make sure you reach out and work with your honors advisor. Your honors program requires you to maintain a certain GPA. It also requires you to take an honors class every semester as you move forward. So there's other information about honors that I'll post in a separate video. So that's it for the My Degree Tracker right now. I hope that gives you an idea of how to decide which classes to take next semester, and I wish you well. I'm an email away, so let me know if you need anything. Take care and have a good day.